Good afternoon and good evening. A very warm welcome to the February edition of Keys to Success, presented by the World Federation of International Music Competitions and IDAGIO. I'm your host, Florian Riem, and I'm very happy today to welcome with us Bruce Liu, winner of the 18th Frédéric Chopin International Piano Competition in Warsaw 2021. For those of us who were there in Warsaw, we very well remember the moment, October 20, close to 10 o'clock. Bruce, you walked on stage as the last of 12 pianists, each of them performing one Chopin concerto, 4 each night for 3 days in a row, an incredible climax to many weeks of Chopin competition. I think as soon as you walked out of your dressing room, there was a camera. Then in the hall, at least 20 huge TV cameras with thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of people watching over YouTube. And I'm wondering what went through your mind when you went out on stage in that very moment?
To be honest, I think it was a relief moment because after I knew that I was in the finals, I was already, I felt really relaxed already because basically my goal was achieved in a sense that that I wanted to play, all the repertoire that I have prepared. So, for me, it was actually, and with all the orchestra members, you're not alone on the stage. And maybe that also helps a bit in a way of distraction. So I want to be distracted, so somehow the nerves is, the stress is no longer there.
That's wonderful to hear. So was there a special recipe for you to prepare for the competition, or what was your secret to prepare for a performance? I used to be a musician, and I know just a little bit of what it means to perform in front of an audience, but this kind of pressure must be so intense. So I wonder how you prepare for each of these performances during the competition.
This could be a very, very long subject. I think the most important thing is, is this word about competition, but at the end, it's still a performance, and it's just a platform, we can say, and a huge platform that offers you to present, and music is never, it's always connected with your life and your personality, and so I think, other than saying how to practice in the process, it's more about, for me, I think the way actually how you live, and that's the whole process that actually makes your music basically unique. And I know that Bartók have said competitions are for for horses, not for artists. I very much enjoy this quote. And but why are we still doing competitions? This is also the interesting factor. I think I agree with what he says in half, we can say, because in the sense that yes, of course, usually that's what's the prejudice we have for competition is that we try to modify our playing, and to, let's say, in brackets, safer, anyways, to to make let's say everybody satisfied, or try to make less mistake or anything. But I think this is something that we have produced from our brain, not because of competition, because there's still a lot of people who try to make risk and try to be artistically very original and follow their own nature without following a format. It's a little bit like using the phone, that we say, we accuse the phone for making our life more addictive to it, but at the end, it's our brain that control us to use the phone. It's not because of the phone that's there that, that we are addicted to it. So I think it's the same for competition. It's our brain. So basically you decide, you play in a safer way, and not because of the competition. It's I hope you know what I mean. So why I say that, because I think it's I think this whole conception and how do you say, in a not clearly in your life, but it's always there in your brain. And I think this kind of conception really makes the way you prepare the competition differently. And from from listening to other musicians to inspirations from CDs, and from the way you read the score, all this thing will influence the way you actually approach the music. And back to the preparation, I think it was all very relief for us, as there's one more year due to the pandemic of the postpone. And in some way it's good, and in some way it could be bad as well, because I remember I was very much looking forward in 2020 March to play in October. And when I knew the news it was going to postpone for 1 year, I was really disappointed. And I was in a panic, because I didn't know what I would do in this extra year. And I was really afraid that if I keep playing the same Chopin, it will really get worse in a sense. And I will really lose the freshness. And we think that the more we practice, the better it gets. But I think that's the magic of art. There's always a soul. It's a live thing. It's not a mechanical thing that the more you do it, the more it gets better. So I think the most crazy and crucial question is how to maintain this is inspiration for this extra year. And the inspiration in this from this life that has really changed our normal routine, and that was the biggest challenge, I think. And I think in brief word I can say that the technology has somehow, maybe I have used it as a way of actually of improving or developing my own strategy, is that I really used a lot of the recording process since the pandemic. Every teaching and every lessons, courses are due to online, and that forced us actually to record our performance and to send our teacher. And despite also I had the chance to play for my teacher live, because it's lucky that we live in the same city. But also, I still do it for master classes and stuff. And that really forced me to listen to myself as a third perspective, and it's something that normally artists would hate. I think nobody likes to listen to our own playing, because it just sounds really terrible all the time. And it's never as good as we imagined in our head. So I think that was something that really, I found really all my weakness from this way. Yeah.
Interesting.
And,
it's interesting that you'd say that, because especially at the Chopin, where the live streaming was so good. It was really of exceptional quality. And then when you were sitting in the hall and listening to people on stage, it sounded like a completely different concert hall. So it's funny that you say when you listen to yourself, you think of it as a lesser quality than when you play.
Yeah, it's always better to have a lower expectation, and then actually in real life you are maybe a better hero than you expected. And I think that was also the philosophy I actually had before going to a competition. I'm sure you will ask this subject in the next one. So I will keep the answer later.
That's all right. I'd like to get back to the issue of the audience, or what the audience means to you as a performer. I talked to many people in Warsaw, and they told me that in a way they had thought, or that you were a favorite from the very beginning of the competition. Did you get that kind of feeling back from the audience as well? It was after you performed in the final, it was different from everyone else, and I was really surprised by that. You were the only one where people stood up right away, and it was just a very, very clear reaction. Did you feel that kind of, did that carry you through the competition?
Personally, I think not really, because I didn't watch any others, so I don't know. It's only when you compare as a third person, you say that you watched most of the people, and that something like this. So of course, I felt the audience was super supportive and warm, and but in my head it was, maybe, I don't know, maybe it was due to the pandemic. I didn't had any public performance for a year. I mean, the audition I did in July was actually first public performance since a year. So already feeling there's a whole audience in a hall, it's already very crazy. I mean, for nowadays, even. And so maybe I was already overwhelmed when I entered the stage. Even it's that quiet, but I felt the huge, there's a very huge energy like growing in this whole space. So in my point of view, I was pretty much in my own bubble, so I didn't pay much attention to that. And but of course, having this kind of reaction after every performance is just a bonus.
Right. Wonderful. You did other competitions as well, Rubinstein, Sendai, and a few others. In which way were they different? In which way were audience different? Was it the same kind of experience for you, or was Warsaw really special? Apart from the fact that you won, of course, but you did this over quite a few years, no?
Yes. So I think one thing that I found really interesting is that every competition I did was a very whole new experience. So there's no a kind of routine repeating. This is, I think, the most dangerous in these experiences, and also in music as well. But every competition I did of course I had a certain goal, but there were also a lot of unexpected new things, crazy, funny adventures. So I think I started with the Montreal competition as the first adult one, and of course it's in my hometown, and I played with the Montreal Symphony, and it felt really like an atmosphere I know very well, this hall area also. So it was a good start, and I managed to get in the final. I was 17. That gave me a new perspective on how adult competition is like. And I think then I did Sendai, which is also a very interesting one, because it's a concerto competition. And I think I remember I had to play 3 different concertos in I think in a gap of 4 days or something like this, which was a very big challenge for my age. I was, I think, 18, something like this. And and in Japan, suddenly, I wouldn't imagine myself in Sendai, without. So this is also magic of this musician life. It's you just sometimes you just find yourself in a very random spot, and you stay here for a whole month, And I remember that of course the audience is quite different. Japanese audience, they're always very disciplined and very quiet, and you felt very, very concentrated when you're performing on stage. But at the same time, it's a place of how do you say, of earthquake, and this places. And I remember in the backstage that you should be prepared for any time that there's an earthquake, even when you're performing on stage.
You should get below the piano in case of an earthquake.
And then I get out of I learned a lot, because usually for that young age we don't have had many chance to play with orchestra, and suddenly play concerto with orchestra. That really helped me to build my experience about collaborating with the group. And it's really different, because then you usually you play on your own, and usually easy to get away of the teamwork process. And I think that's the base that I actually have learned, from all the rest, including this Chopin, concerto and everything. The rehearsal time was extremely short. It was 45 minutes, basically just a run through time, and and it was I think it was one of the most stressful experience. But in the fact that at least they played this piece already for, I think, 8 or 7 times, with other same, we all play the same piece. This is also the special case from this. And I think the orchestra pretty much know it by heart,
They do, but it makes a big difference on who they play together with. And I think you could really hear that. I mean, the way they react, the way they start playing, it's the first half minute or so, you notice immediately they are with the soloist, or they're leaning back and just thinking, oh no, another one. I mean, not that they would do that at the Chopin, but in a way, there is some spark, I think, that happens right at the beginning. And I think that was quite amazing, even though they had played it already so many times during these days. But I wonder, you said, through the additional year, it was even more Chopin in a row, and now you keep playing Chopin. Does it ever get too much? Do you really feel like you have to play some Beethoven or Mozart or something else now? Or
exactly.
Are you still enjoying Chopin?
You mean for the extra year of preparation?
No. I mean now after
after the competition. I would say half. I still enjoy Chopin, of course, and but after 20 times of E minor, and but there's a joy inside as well that actually I have discovered in, I think, just a few days before, because I was actually a bit of course overdone with this concerto that I already done like 20 times, but I realized that every time actually I can still get some new inspiration, with different orchestra, different halls, different piano, and I think this is the joy of pianist, because we are playing on different piano in every hall. It could be a nightmare as well, and but the joy also comes with that this really create a challenge for you to adapt very quickly, and this is something different from all other instruments that you carry yourself. And so basically I think I'm a bit done with the Chopin pieces, but actually I found new way to play them. So it's I don't know how to answer that. Of course, I try to start other pieces as well, and have a lot of projects coming out with Deutsche Grammophon as well, and I'm looking forward to do some French music. And next year I'm going to combine this Chopin and Liszt Don Giovanni variations, which is something that I really look forward as well.
That's wonderful. Did they let you choose the repertoire on your Deutsche Grammophon CD, or did they tell you what was going to be on the CD?
No, they asked my intention first, and then we built up a project together.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the list. For you, I think after the competition, I don't know how much, but still, you once said you were looking forward to finally going home to Canada, and you couldn't because you had to go to lots of other places. I think your life has changed quite a bit through that competition, and you're quite an international person. In the first place, your parents are Chinese. Correct me if I'm wrong. You were born in Paris. You emigrated to Canada when you were a child. For you, Canada is home. Will it be home, or will you relocate now to another place, to Europe? I'm sure you speak also quite a few languages with that kind of background.
Yeah, I speak Mandarin, French, and English. I think for artists, it's sometimes really hard to say where is home.
Exactly.
And even playing with the composer, and with maybe also with my very varied background, I felt that maybe I have 3 or 4 homes in a way. And So I don't know, but of course, for facilities, as I have a lot of engagements in Europe, it's certainly good, and I'm working on it, to have a place to stay in Europe as well. Probably Paris is the easiest way to go first, and Montreal will always be my home, because I grew up here. I had so many friends there. I took primary school, secondary school, university, everything was done there, and I mean, it will always be my home.
Mm-hmm. Maybe a quick word about your teacher. Dantaison won the Chopin competition just 40 years ago. I wonder what he felt when he saw you win first prize. What was his reaction, or was it almost expected at the end?
He is a very very, how do you say, very introverted and humble man, and I think he reacted in a very rational way, but I can feel there is something different also from the inside. Of course, there's very emotional things, but I think he was also very, I think, right after after the victory, there's no celebration, but more kind of serious conversation I had with him. I remember I think at 4 or 5 a.m. Before his departure. It was, because winning is a very big responsibility, and there's really, with this whole schedule of 2 months, right after, and also the planning, the change of life, everything, there's a huge planification and new structure that have to be set, and he talked to me right away to how to organize your life, how to choose, for example, choose the concerts, and how to be very selective, and how to keep growing as a pianist, and all these things. It's all very serious. It's not as you think that it's champagne, or there's girls in the room, and
I see. And are you limiting your engagements? Are you thinking about how much to do? As you said, 2 months of full calendar. I mean, you never know how it will go on, for how long this will go on, and it very much depends on yourself. But I wonder what kind of person are you? Are you more of a Gergiev or Buchbinder, who really cannot have enough and have to have a concert every day or every second day when they're not traveling? Or do you feel like you really need time to reflect and to take a break after all this?
Yes, I think I need a break. Yeah, I cannot imagine. Well, I just played with Maestro Gergiev in December, and I experienced that. It's such a crazy. I mean, he had like 3 concerts that day, and the day he played with me, and right after we played Chopin Concerto, he went to conduct the Fledermaus. I cannot imagine.
That's a great combination.
How all these things are happening. But I admire these guys. They can really do this. I really need, for example, 2 or 3 months, of nothing, and I would like to, just maybe to live a normal guy's life. I also need some vacation. I also need some, private time, or even just a week without piano. So I'm this kind of guy. Everybody's nature is different, I think, but I probably need this. So that's why I was a bit anxious after this competition. It was a very tired experience, of 3 weeks. Competitions are usually, I think, the most intense. I mean, maybe psychologically, or also physically. And normally you don't prepare that much program in that short amount of period. For concert, you usually just play the same program maybe for months. So right after the competition, all I was wishing was going home, of course. And then and then it's a bit of struggle, because of course this is something that every pianist has been dreaming for, and when I was receiving this whole list of engagements in my head, I was having this little dilemma in my mind. You know, I was thinking, should I really play all this? And at the same time, it's like, wow, you know, these incredible engagements at the same time. And you know, but that 2 months was really unforgettable.
Must have been so intense. I think it's also great that you got a very nice agent now, and not right the day after the competition. You took your time. I wonder how you selected your agent. They have the same name, and they also have some connection to Poland. They're friends of mine, so I really love the idea of you being with Liu Kotov. But I wonder, how did you choose them, or did they choose you, or how did that happen?
I actually forgot how the first connection was made. Of course, no, there were so many after the competition, and it was again, it's like the concerts a bit. It's like a dream come true, but at the same time, it's a really chaotic situation. And you know, yeah. So I really took my time. I was not in a hurry. I said, anyway, I have 4 months of concerts right after the competition, so I don't why I should take an agent right away. You know, there's not such urgent need. I think they're how do you say? You know, I think they're really. I mean, first of all, they're both musicians. I think they really know about how to organize the schedule and everything. You know, it's good to be a musician to know how musicians really think in this kind of situation. And I think they were really enthusiastic, and I was touched by the way that they described the way, you know, they actually appreciate my music, but not just the, you know, the business part. And you know, and I think in closer contact is, I mean, in a relatively smaller boutique type, is good to have a closer interaction and fast, you know, communications as well. So and you know, the same surname, and that's just a bonus as well.
Wonderful. Maybe let's get since we're getting to the end, let's speak just a little bit more about competitions. Maybe you know the World Federation. Our members include most of the big international competitions like the Chopin, Tchaikovsky, the Long Thibaut, the Clyburn, the Montreal Busoni, and about 120 more. We try to support young artists, and we try to develop or to develop competitions further, to communicate among the competitions and adapt to some of the new perspectives, like the things that have happened through the pandemic. What is your message for the countless young pianists and musicians that are applying right now for all these competitions, that are all struggling to get a hold in the concert life? This interview series is called The Keys to Success. What do you think it is? I mean, you already mentioned in the very beginning, I thought that was really, really great, the way you think about a competition, the way you think about going on stage. But what would be your advice for young artists trying to win a competition, to prepare for a competition?
I think it's to not be neglecting the fact of every little thing that you do every day that seems to be nothing, but if you do that every day in a very consistent and disciplined way, you feel the result much bigger than maybe a very big thing you do for just one day. I think that's very important, a very good habit, I mean, not just for playing piano, but to build your mindset. For example, I swim every day, and I felt it really helpful for myself to relieve all the stress, and to, of course, to keep a very good shape, which is very important for musician as well. It's, as you see, I sweat a lot on stage, and this is a really athletic work, and it's important to have a good health as well. And I think at the same time we prepare competition, we really and tend to think about how other people think about us, and we forget about who you are really, you know. And this is, I think, something very important to always keep in mind, that you should listen yourself more instead of other people, and to be unique, to be yourself, and to really show your personality and not be too much influenced, you know, by other world, which is something that is good in nowadays, that we have so much information, but at the same time we really get too easily influenced by, you know, by other, through media or through anything. So it's important to be yourself. And last not least, I think it's just to, if you think that's your passion, then just continue it, because of course there's going to be a lot of failure, you know. I think Churchill said that, you know, failure is not success. I think, I don't know what he said. Success is failure to failure without losing the enthusiasm. So let's say. Yeah.
That one. Yes. That was a very nice closing statement. Thank you so much for this interview, Bruce. You have many concerts coming up, and I really look forward to see you live the next time and hear you play again. Everyone, thank you very much for listening. And as for our series, Keys to Success, we will be back next month and present a conversation with another pianist, also a winner of the Chopin, but also the first prize winner of the Sydney Piano Competition, Alexander Gadziev. I think you know each other quite well as well. So stay tuned and see you again soon. Thank you very much.